Angelics, how are you doing? I've been meaning to change the format of these videos for a while because, well, rewatching them I realized they were not that interesting. I mean, it was cool to see the progress of a painting being made, but other than that, there was no actual value to the videos. I watched a lot of other people's tutorials, and I kind of like the commentaries in them because it just gives me an insight of what's going through the artist's head as they're painting and the reason why they're taking certain choices, and so I thought I'll do something similar here. And as you could see, I had sketched done a rough sketch of the scene already. This is from Wonderboy 3, the Dragon Trap on Master System. It's probably one of my favorite video game ever, really. I love this game so much, and the soundtrack is just freaking awesome in it. So I've done an initial sketch, a very rough sketch, and I'm going over it with the black paint, and it's not the final outline. It just gives me an idea of where my zones are, and just a sense of, you know, space in the painting. I will be going over all these lines again at the end of the painting anyway. And what I'm doing here first is I'm putting a first layer of colors. Now, because I'm using acrylics and I dilute them quite a bit, just the way I like to work, these are not fully opaque. As you can see, the black is showing under that. So again, just it gives me an idea of all my zones and areas in the painting. And these will be refined as I'm layering more and more. The difficulty in doing scenes like that look very simple on paper, but they're actually they take me much longer to do than the other more traditional type of paintings, because you have to be a lot more deliberate, and I'm using a source material that, you know, a lot of people would be familiar with. So yeah, it takes me forever to do these. Normally I do the other ones in about an hour, and these take me sometimes up to 2.5 hours. And I know it probably would be faster to do them with Posca pens, which seems to be the preferred choice for a lot of people. But I'm a painter and I like brushes anyway, and I'm a painter at heart, so I just use the medium I'm familiar with. But it gives me that full realized painting feel as well. I find Posca is a bit too neat. I like imperfections. In my work, luckily, and in other people's work. It's the imperfections that I like, because it tells me a story about the process and the artist, him or herself. So yeah, Posca pens would be better, probably cleaner, but brushes and paint is what I like, really. You get an idea of the way I like to work as well, sort of top to bottom and left to right. Obviously because I'm right-handed, but also because I don't, you know, if I painted right to left, obviously I would actually smudge the previous paint I just laid out. Same as writing, really, it's the same idea. But a lot of people like to, you know, jump different areas and different zones. I sort of like to work from top to bottom, left to right, and get these areas completed as I go down the painting. It's not always true though, and especially if I layer the painting, each layer is worked top to bottom, left to right, and then I go back and do the same, refine all my areas. But here you can see I'm using a very diluted color. I think it's Van Dyke Brown, and I use the same color for all that tower area and the checkered platform, and I just use diluted versions of it just to give me that shading effect, and just mix with a bit of white. It's not titanium white. I don't use pure white, really. I don't have it here actually. Maybe I should learn the name, but it's a grayer sort of white, just for the highlights in some areas. Now that I'm happy that I've completed that left edge, I'm actually going over some of the other areas. You can see actually I'm on the far right, sort of contradicting myself, but it's because I'm working on one color at a time for this painting. It just makes it easier, and then it makes it easier because I use the same brushes for every color. Ideally, you would have different brushes for each color so you don't smudge your colors, but I don't have a lot of brushes, so I like to work per color. So I've done the second layer of color on the brown on the trees and on the shadows, and I'm moving to the second color for the greens and the shadows for the greens. And so I'm working as well here from the base color, apply the shadows, and then I bring it back to lighter colors. Typically for my more traditional painting, I like to work from light to dark, back to front, but in this case it's easier to work from dark and bring it back to light. So yeah, that's the way I'm working. So I've done my my greens, and now I'm refining my browns again and just bringing the light back in. And yeah, it's hard to do pixel art in painting, obviously, unless you actually do what Square Painter does and just divide all your canvas per, you know, have a grid system, and each square is a pixel. But it takes forever. I admire his patience doing it because man, that takes forever. But it's not the way I work. But what I do is I just add little details here. You can see highlights in the trees with a bit of white mixed in my green, just to give it that sort of pixelated feel. Now I'm working now on the platform the character is standing on, and these have a very specific design, and I wasn't sure how to do it first, and I actually just went for a very, very, very rough looking design, because I thought the emphasis of that zone specifically should be on the character and not on these tiles. So I just made them very, very rough, just using 2 colors, and left them like that, because I think that area, that center area, especially the centerpiece on the canvas, should be all about the character that's there. And now going over the character, and I do the same thing I do for everything in this painting. I went over, put a second layer of every color that's on the character, and I work the shadows first. Working the shadows first actually gives you that sense of volume. So that's when you're actually defining your volume. The highlights, the lighter colors, will then just add the details of that on that volume. So it will give you exactly where the high points on that surface are, but it's the shadows really that define the volume. And I'm just going, you know, little areas one at a time, and just sort of blending the line between the shadow and the main color. And then I haven't done much in the highlight department because the character doesn't really have any sort of glossy areas on him. So yeah, so it has to be just mostly main color and shadow, tiny bit of highlight. But that's the way cell shading works for pixel art. And now it's time to do the left part, of the right part of the painting. Why am I confusing the two? Right part of the painting, and because I think the emphasis is on the character, and for some reason the doors are very detailed in the game. So I'm just doing the roof and wall, again in 1 or 2 colors. Here I'm just adding a dark and a lighter lines, you know, those squiggly lines side by side, just to give, you know, just a bit of variety. But very simple, you know, not too deliberate, very very loose. You can see all the lines not really aligned. Doesn't really matter because the focus will be on the doors. There's actually 3 elements of focus, I think, in this scene. Is the character, that arrow jump cell block, and then the doors for some reason in the game are very detailed, which I liked. I actually love the detail on these doors, so I'm just doing the detailing on the doors here, and the window. And that's pretty much painting done. Quite happy with it. I'm just refining a few areas on the character, refining my lines, just adding a few outlines here and there just to sharpen the edges, but this is it. So there you go, folks. Thanks for watching. I hope you've enjoyed it. Let me know what you think of this new format. Personally, I like, if I'm watching a speed painting, I like to know the process behind, because the whole reason of watching a painting being made is that you enjoy the process itself, not just the finished result. So let me know in the comments, and I'll see you next time.